Hi, guys. Welcome back to Lunatic Astrology. I want to talk about the soul of Joe Biden. But I really want to talk about the idea that you can look for some kind of, people say weird things. They say, like, he said in his inauguration speech, my whole soul is in this, or something like that. My whole soul is here. And he said it more than once, but he said it in such a way that I was listening. And I'm like, what is going on with his soul in his natal chart? It's at the midpoint of a finger of God. No, not his soul, that's his sun. But we're going to look a little bit at the asteroid Psyche, which is often associated with the concept of one's soul in Greek mythology, or to do with the psyche slash soul of, the collective, even if it's transiting a major point in the story of the world. So I'm going to go look at this chart with you. And I'm just thinking sometimes astrology is literal. So this is going to be a part of a series called Quickie Insights into Character or something like that, because today it just captivated me. What do astrologers do in their downtime when they finish their client readings? They do geeky research like this. I mean, this is when you know you're actually on your path, in your groove. You don't stop working when you stop working. I'm recording this on Sunday, January 24th. Oh, I don't want to share my Zoom screen with you. There we go. All right. So this is Joe Biden, November 20th, 1942 in Scranton, Pennsylvania at 8:30 a.m. And this is what I'm talking about when he talked about my whole soul is in this, all that. This is a finger of God, which is created when you have a sextile joining together here. This sextile Neptune, which is a 60-degree angle, is in a sextile connection to his Venus and his ascendant, actually. And it's a kind of an awkward sextile in the sense that it's kind of bridging two signs. So, certainly we can say his 3-degree ascendant and his Neptune are anchoring that sextile, but so is Venus here at 28. And the tip of the finger of God, or Yod or Yod, is, which are co-joined by inconjunct aspects, is the moon, and the 0-degree moon in Taurus. So, I mean, there's a lot going on in this finger of God that has to do with him, but I want to just point out something fascinating. I put in the asteroid Psyche to see where she would fit in this chart. And there she sits, pretty close to the nourishing star Spica, which can bring luck. She's around 23 or 4 degrees of Libra. Luck, blessings, and success with no harm done. And so he's got a beautiful star pretty close to that Psyche that sits in the midpoint of a finger of God. And, the midpoint of a finger of God, if I was to be super precise about it, what's exactly between, for instance, the halfway point between a 1-degree Neptune, let's say, and a 3-degree ascendant, if I use the ascendant as the actual perfect sextile, more perfect sextile, at least in terms of using the houses properly, 27 degrees is there. It's within orb. For sure. It's a part of the story. It's not a perfect midpoint, but the idea of it is that it's in the middle of a finger of God. And so Psyche at 27 and a half in the moon. So what does this mean? Across the way, it's sort of like a boomerang finger of God. The idea of soul, okay, the idea of soul is embedded into his chart, and a finger of God is a mission from God. I have one. I've seen clients with them. I'm not going to mince words. There is a quality of finger of God people. They feel they're here on a mission from God. And your finger of God tends to require sacrifice in order to get what you want, in order to get what God wants, or the goddess wants, or divine intelligence wants, call it what you will. I don't think he really, really wanted to run. He'd done the whole White House gig and Secret Service attendees, and we've gone through a lot of that stuff already. He really did it as an act of service. And whether you like him or not, whatever you think about him, it doesn't matter. I'm not talking about politics. I'm talking about a person, a personality, and a soul. Now, soul itself, compared to character or personality, tends to be that your ascendant sign is more your avatar or your character, and the sun can be your eternal, timeless self. You're more your soul quality, at least in the ancient tradition that I use, which is Hellenism. And that soul is in the house of past lives, and it's got a stellium. And we can make a story about Joe Biden in whole sign house system, that he's got a huge stellium in some kind of past life narrative that he may be bringing forward in this lifetime. There's a dog chewing in the background. I think you guys hear him eating his food. And what does that past life stellium want to do here? So part of it is it likely involves that exalted Jupiter. So his sun, which can be rulership or leadership, is shining a light on his exalted Jupiter and his exalted Jupiter is one of the reasons I was pretty sure he was going to win over Donald Trump in my 7 astrological 7 clues to why Trump wasn't going to win the election video, which, I have a playlist for all those videos. So far I'm doing pretty well. I got yes, Dems would take the Senate. I got yes, Donald Trump would lose, but I'm showing you why. So I'm not just throwing, spaghetti at the wall here. I'm trying to look at the astrology and see what sticks. I'm telling you what I see. So this soul part of him is intriguing, really intriguing to me, since he used that word so emphatically. And if I think about this in the context of the transits now, and I'm also going to overlay the US natal chart. If I think about that, my curiosity is what propelled this movement towards this finger of God phraseology at this juncture in his story and in his life. What transits are happening that are activating his finger of God? Well, starting in 2019, Uranus hit the tip of his finger of God. Uranus tiptoed into that finger of God for about 5 months in 2018, but then fully entered into a permanent stay in Taurus until 2026 or so, and activated in 2019 spring the tip of his finger of God. So by 2019, he was definitely going to do something like run for president. And back in 2018 May to October, he may have been ruminating on it, because that was the activation by Uranus. There he is, a big transpersonal giant, great awakener, innovation, change, freedom, but also, like stimulating, like electrically currenting this finger of God. Now look, Joe Biden is not going to have this again. Uranus will never come over the tip of his finger of God in the house of work and service. And in the Vedic tradition, the sixth house is your house of your karmic debt, for which you pay off the debt by being of service, and you get the great gains and rewards of your 11th house. And in his 11th house, that's where solar Psyche is. So he gets to own his soul by being of service. Question mark? I don't know. But it's fascinating. I think it's fascinating. I hope you're thinking it is. And if you think about Uranus, activating that moon, that's what propelled him back into office to run for be a candidate for the presidency. And even his lot of fortune has been activated in 2019 and 20, and this year as well. Uranus entered into the calendar year at 6 degrees of Taurus, and will go as far out as, I'm trying to remember, is it 14? I can't be, it still seems a little bit long. Uranus will travel between the 6th degree at the beginning of the year to the 14th degree in August. Yep. Stationing to go retrograde at 14 in August. So that he's got this beginning of the year with his lot of, or part of fortune in the house of service and work activated. Now it is a house of his health. I mean, sickness, it's a house of sickness, so it can impact his physical health. And Uranus is on his lot of fortune close to the moon, which can imply energy, challenges to his physical body. And I know he broke his ankle or something. So Uranus can cause accidents. And that happened while Uranus was near his lot of fortune, which can affect physical health. And that was when he was still running, like when in the buildup for the election. Now he passed that accident, which is good. And Uranus at the tip of his finger of God is going to reach the 14th degree, but then trend back again as well. So he's still under some serious energy around the tip of that finger of God and the lot of fortune. And in January of 2022, Uranus will be at the 10th degree starting into that year. But nope, sorry, looking at the wrong planet. 10 degrees of Taurus, January 1st, 2022. So let's hope the best for his physical wellness, that's for sure, given, they already injured himself. But Uranus has triggered off his finger of God. So where's Psyche in the sky right now? Let's take a look. Hang on, that's my social media assistant. Let me just tell her yes. So I want you to know, that's my daughter who's currently working for me. Let me just answer that. All right. So what else can I say, guys? I could say that I'm intrigued by where Psyche is in the sky, and there she is right now. She's lined up as the day of this recording, January 25th, 5 days after inauguration, right on his Saturn and right on Aldebaran, which is I never say it's Aldebaran or Aldebaran, but this fixed star that's associated with Archangel Michael with this flaming sword or fiery, whatever sword on the right hand of God. But it's also a star for, worldly success and positive outcomes, but it's still a warrior star. And is Biden, at war with something, like, well, obviously the hard militant, um, white supremacy, right edge, yeah, that kind of stuff. But is there anything else he's at war with a sort of Michael sword supporting him? Because Psyche, my whole soul is in this. I believed him. So Psyche is traveling right now, and she's literally going over this really beautiful star, this very beautiful, positive archangel energy, Aldebaran. And, that's where his Saturn is, not an ordinary chart. There's some power in that Saturn hooked up to the energy of that very bright royal Persian star. And the Psyche will continue to travel around the zodiac, but because I don't have software that lets me progress her without continually changing the date, I think I'm going to be intrigued when Psyche, the asteroid, makes it around to herself in his chart. And you know what? I don't care, guys. I mean, if you're bored with this kind of astrology, just don't listen. I'm going to try my best to just jump the chart forward and see where she is, let's say, in a year. Basically, the asteroids are traveling in a belt. So they're kind of 4 to 5 or 6 years. They're all roughly the same time around the zodiac because they're all traveling in like a debris field. In fact, there's some speculation in rogue rogue history that the asteroid belt is a smashed planet. Okay, they got it's a debris of a smashed planet that used to orbit the solar system. I tend to believe that. So in a year from this conversation, where is that Psyche gone to? How far did she get? Ooh, up on his MC. Did I ever pick a good one? 1 year from now, his whole soul, the finger of God, midpoint, Psyche, has made it to his midheaven, his high noon, God's plan for him, the vault of heaven. This is probably the part of the chart. This is the vertical axis, the most where you can see where the alignment of the truest story, the plot line of your life's character lies. And so, of course, he's a Virgo MC. You have to see Virgo MCs and people who go into medicine, not politics, but there's magic, medicine, health, and healing with Virgo energy. But what is he doing? Healing a nation of a pandemic, under a Jupiter bound, and he's got that exalted Jupiter energy in his chart. That's kind of cool. And there is a broad sextile between Jupiter and his midheaven, as you see, 25 and 19. That Jupiter has a lot of leader in it. In other words, leader atop of Mount Olympus, right? Top dog. That's Jupiter, that's Zeus, and there's his exalted Jupiter. So rising to power at the top of the chart in the 10th house, the public eye. But Psyche will be right there, and coming into the story very strongly in January of 2022, which kind of implies that sometime in early 22, she will hit herself in his chart, and that finger of God midpoint will be triggered again. Now, I had a vision in my shower, and it was that I saw Kamala Harris. I was showering today. That's why I'm doing this video. And she was announcing that she would be stepping in as president or something like that. It was more like in the vision I had, it was she was saying, I don't often get visions like this, but it was really clear. She was reassuring the nation and all of that, but there was a sense of it was like a transitional statement. Like Joe would not necessarily be coming back into office. She was now holding the reins, but everyone be reassured all is well. It's almost like he was ill and maybe unconscious, and she was taking over, as would happen. That's what a vice president does when there's something incapacitating the actual president. So I was seeing that kind of statement, not really like the statement of she was in office as president, but she was telling the nation for now she was doing the job. So that vision was really bold. And I've always felt that Joe Biden, for a lot of reasons, I'll do another reading, it's in his chart, won't likely finish his term as president, whether he walks away for health reasons or whatever. There's a strong feeling that within 2 years, or roughly 2 years, Kamala Harris may be stepping into the role of president. Okay, so anything else I want to say about Joe's chart? No, I really wanted to find the Psyche piece of the story. It's interesting that as Psyche approaches his midheaven up here, that Hygeia, the goddess of health, and he's born with Hygeia, health and wellness goddess, hygiene, on his Pluto, that, you know, Pluto, a god of death, and Hygeia, the everyday goddess of the ancient tradition, where there are altars in every alcove, alcove and street to her, petitioning for health and wellness. That's on his Pluto in his ninth house. I just find that fascinating. And the ninth house is the house of foreign lands and soul, God, truth, and wisdom. And there's a wounded healer up there too. But in the sign of the sun, right? Solar light. There's the sun here. The sun, this is the sun sign. It's like he came into this life to do something to do with healing and wellness in a time of great upheaval and death, you know, death. But anyway, that's a bit of a stretch, but I kind of like that too. I also want to take just a really quick peek. So hang in there with me, okay? What happens when I overlay the U.S. natal chart on this and see where that Psyche goes in the United States chart, the soul of America? Let's just add an overlay chart. And this poor dog that's with me wants to walk so badly. These are quickies. They're going to be less than half an hour, Joe. And let's add, don't peek at my client list, guys. Eek. I'm going to add USA. If I don't have the USA in here, I'm going to be really shocked. Yeah, Sibley. And we're going to put Joe on the inside and Sibley there and do it. I'm going to do a synastry, which just gives us two wheels overlapping to see the interconnection. All right. What's going on with Joe's Psyche and the United States chart? Well, there's his Psyche at the tip of his finger of God, which you can't see now, but don't worry. We know what it is. In the midpoint, I mean, of his finger of God. And there's his tip of his finger of God, or Yod. And there in the United States chart, he's co-joining with Juno, which is, you know, the goddess of who represents marriage and partnership, but she is the wife, and sometimes jealousy. She's the wife of Zeus. And I always think in the U.S. Sibley chart that Juno represents the president and the first lady. You know, it's kind of the divine couple archetype. And so he's pretty close. His soul of him is close to that archetype. And of course, he literally has a female first lady, right? Just like Zeus and Hera. Zeus and Juno, that's Juno, same goddess, wife of Zeus, wife of Jupiter. And he actually pulled a woman into freaking office. I think she pulled him into office. I think a lot of her karmic momentum is what got him in there, which I've also said in other videos before he was elected, that it looked like Kamala Harris was going to be the reason that this all happens. So he's kind of laying the groundwork for her. It's the soul. So what is Psyche doing in the United States chart? And there's his exalted Jupiter on the lot of fortune, or the part of fortune of the USA. Hello, the part of fortune can involve health issues, right? And it's literally, the United States' chart. So, and the fortunes of the nation itself. That's pretty cool as well. And, you know, it's a rare thing. Well, I mean, if it's rare or if it just is, I'll have to go study some USA presidents. But, you know, he's got a perfect alignment. His first house is the first house of the United States, you know. His 10th house is the 10th of the United States. Seventh, it's like he's overlaying really tightly. His ascendant is co-joined with the US chart, you know, and his ascendant is co-joined with Queen and King of Mount Olympus, Juno, the goddess of marriage. I'm coming, doggy. And so anyway, let's go around this thing. Where does Psyche fit? There's Psyche. Guys, you can't make this poop up. Psyche, the soul, the Psyche, the soul is on the sun of the US chart. And the sun is under the light of Sirius, the dog star, which is arcane wisdom and knowing the meaning of life and God. It's a mystical spiritual star, but it also is a powerful star revered by the ancient Egyptians. So Sirius, and lore that we come from Sirius, like that humans are seated by Sirius energy. So Sirius, Sun, and Psyche, right, are all lined up here in the United States chart. So Psyche, the soul of Joe Biden, is at the tip of a finger of God. And the soul of the United States is on the sun, and the soul can represent the soul of a person. So why not the soul of the United States? But also, in a chart of a nation, the sun can represent the leader, the ruler, or the king. And so in the king or ruler or leader of the United States, soul, the asteroid that can represent Psyche, our soul, is prominently placed in a lineup with that qualitative energy. And there's an exalted Jupiter in the United States natal chart, right? On the sun. And Joe is an exalted Jupiter. And his vertex, which means life turning point place, pivots in the life story, crossroads. That's exactly lined up with the United States sun, the leader of the United States, and Psyche, and exalted Jupiter, and Mercury and Venus, etc. I mean, you just have to look at that and pretty well, you could say, yeah, he was vice president. Sure. You could say that could have cost the VP job for two terms, but with his midheaven over here at the 10th degree in the 10th house, that's really usually like midheaven in the ninth is often people who are perpetually behind the scenes, like advisors to power, vice presidents, rising in the ranks just shy of the top dog. Wait for me, Milo. So I say it was always foretold that he would be US president. And Neptune, I have a dream, Martin Luther's speech, I have a dream. That's very Neptunian. And Joe almost has a wistful quality. You can tell he's tired, that he's like, you can tell that he's sort of not really in it at one level, but that he's got something he's got to do. And there's something almost wistful and yearning and tired in the way he sometimes presents his energy in his talking. Not just because he's old, just because he's got a job to do. It's that finger of God. So yay, the Psyche and the role, the really thing, my whole soul is in this. That's the story. So I think I'll call this video something like, is Joe's whole soul really in it? The astrology clues. Thanks for checking in for the astrology quickie of the day. And I'll just pop this up on YouTube. Probably I'm doing this on the 24th, maybe on Monday, the 25th. Okay, there is a dog who's so hungry or so ready to walk or something, just sitting there staring at me. So I'm going to go attend to the dog who needs my attention. I'm not in my own home. This beautiful home is my friend Sylvia. Sylvia's gorgeous home in Vancouver, Canada, and I'm visiting for a while, a couple months. And yeah, so taking some time in Vancouver, Canada, being very COVID safe, doing all my health protocols, my masking up, and taking my vitamin D and all of that. But I am not in my cold Montreal weather, but in my toasty Montreal apartment. I am in Vancouver. All right, Canada. All right, guys, ciao. Don't forget, like and subscribe and all that stuff. And I've got sales and I've got readings, and you can get your ahead stuff. All signs, 60 minutes times 12, 39, or a la carte, just your own sign. Go for it. For $14.95. Ciao.